You seriously think a puny little child can be a villain?
Yes, I pretty despicable.
Minions: The Rise of Gru is the prequel story to how the supervillain Gru connected with his silly band of helpers who are known collectively as the Minions. Now look, this new movie story is only so-so, but young audiences are mostly interested in the mayhem brought about by the Minions, so once again, they are a lot of crazy fun. Look, it may be a mediocre movie, but it's still very funny, which should make audiences very happy.
No, haha.
I need your assistance. There is a gentleman, Mr. Malcolm. He humiliated me. I would love for Mr. Malcolm to receive the comeuppance he deserves. Plus, it could be rather fun.
Mr. Malcolm's List is a Jane Austen-inspired drama. It's the story of a woman who's using her friend to get revenge against the man who publicly humiliated her. Except that the revenge plans go astray when real romance starts to bloom in this pretty good, colorblind, PG-rated romance.
Once upon a time, in a magical castle, the king's daughter was locked away in a tower.
Finally, The Princess over on Hulu is the story of, well, a princess who has to fight to get out of an arranged marriage to an evil prince. And by fight, I mean literally, as in it's an hour and a half of swords and punching and all sorts of bloody mayhem. The movie is mediocre at best, but it does have some nice action, and producer and star Joey King makes for a rather appealing damsel, definitely not in distress.
I underestimated you.
I'm used to that.
And that's what's new this week at the movies. I'm Sean McBride, the movie guy.
All right, it's Friday, so obviously you know what that means. Sean McBride, the movie guy, is here, trekked all the way through the rain.
Through the rain, I barely survived.
He made it just to bring us some movies this week, giving us a look at what's coming this weekend that we can watch. Maybe if you're stuck in the rain or want to avoid maybe some outside activities.
Or you're spending 4 days at home with the kids and you need an excuse to get out
I'm
and go do
sure
something.
a lot of folks.
I mean, the rain's supposed to be over on Sunday-ish, so you may want to be going to the theater Sunday or Monday. So, but the first one, the big one this week, come on, it's Minions: The Rise of Gru, and look, the Minions movies and the Despicable Me movies. These are not made for you and I.
Right.
We are, multiple years too old for that. But if you're a 5-year-old kid, these movies are amazing.
Yeah.
Funniest things ever. I was sitting there watching this, and particularly I was paying attention to Pierre Coffin, who does all the vocalizations for all of the Minions. And just really thinking, this is a French guy who grew up, I want to say it was Vietnam, did he grow up? But anyway, so he understands languages. And there's a lot of language in there, just kind of mumbled, babbled, And so there's some Spanish and obviously some French, but there's also some Chinese and, Korean and whatnot. And it's like, oh, I know that phrase. Oh, I know that phrase. And it's kind of fascinating that it lets you kind of get an insight and you are just enough to know what the Minions are saying without actually hearing genuine words and stuff. I think it's really well done. And then, of course, the animation for these Minions makes it all very slapsticky, Three Stooges type stuff. I think that works very well. All of this being said, this is kind of a Gru movie. It's him when he's a little 11-year-old kid. He wants to join this supervillain group, and it's him connecting with the Minions and really saying, why are you going to be my henchman going forward? I didn't think that was a very good story, to be quite honest. Give me the Minions, let them have fun. That's why I'm there to see this movie. I mean, it's called The Minions, first and foremost. I wish there was more of that, less Gru. It was fine. It wasn't anything special, though.
So I kind of wonder, sometimes when I watch these movies, they have like little jokes in there for the adults who are watching.
Yeah, tons of that stuff. I mean, and a soundtrack, which is all these songs from the 1970s with modern artists. And it's like, kids don't know this, but it's like, oh, is that Carly Simon? Or no, it's St. Vincent actually doing a cover. I think there's some really wonderful stuff there for mom and dad to chuckle at as well.
All right, moving on. So that one, obviously, for the kids. Anything for the adults this weekend?
Mr. Malcolm's List, which is ostensibly a romance of sort. Everyone's going to compare it to Bridgerton. It's it's another romance set in the Regency period with a colorblind casting. And basically, this weird story. This woman, she's dating this guy. He kind of humiliates her. And she finds out that he has a list of 10 qualities that any potential wife must meet. And so she has a friend who's, a not in this society. She brings her in, not flies her in, and says, I'm going to pretend that you are the perfect woman who has these 10 qualities, and then we're going to dump him. We're going to get revenge. And then, of course, we know that romance is going to bloom and that the revenge plot is going to go to the side here. Look, it's PG rated, so Bridgerton is a lot steamier.
Right.
But it's a nice romance. It's Frida Pinto there in the central role. I think it's fine. Like I say, it's not. I would not call it a bodice ripper. It's not one of those things. But it's nice production values, nice acting. It's solid. It's more romance as a theory than an actuality because of the PG rating.
Yeah.
But like I say, for grown-ups, I think it's nice.
Good option. Okay, and I forgot to ask, Minions in theaters, correct?
In theaters, and Mr. Malcolm's List in theaters. And
Both
then
in
the final
theaters.
one,
Yeah.
The Princess,
Yeah.
on Hulu. And The Princess is like a video game. This princess wakes up in the top floor of the tower. She's got manacles on. She's wearing her nightgown, and then she goes, what's going on? Well, you're getting married to the evil prince. Well, she has to get out of there. So she uses the manacles to beat up her jailers, and then she sword fights her way all the way down through the tower. It is, I love she's wearing this white dress, and then by the end she's wearing a red dress because so much blood has been spilled.
Wow.
And it really is. There's a little bit of dialogue, but 90% of this movie is just sword fighting. At one point, there's ninja parkour guards coming up. It's kind of silly. There's whips there. Yeah, it's over the top. Look, this is what's interesting. It's Joey King, and I'm not sure that people really know who she is. She's 22 years old.
I feel like she's pretty.
Yeah,
fairly popular.
She did the Kissing Booth, which is
Right.
probably her biggest. Well, Kissing Booth 1, 2, and 3, her biggest thing. And she executive produced this. She's not just signed on as a producer. She executive produced this, and she stars in this. And her martial arts fighting stuff is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So that's why, I'm sitting there going, wow, that's an impressive feat for a 22-year-old to do. She's quite good. Like I said, her martial arts stuff is really good. I don't think the movie's good, but I'm very impressed by Joey King here. So that's the reason to see it.
It's always interesting seeing these acting scenes, the fighting scenes of how they kind of play it out and how they do it up. So that's very cool to hear that, you're impressed by that.
Yeah,
of what she was doing.
and look, a lot of people, this is on Hulu, by the way, if we didn't say, a lot of people are going to be there just to see the martial arts, and it is exciting, and you're going to cheer her on, and, obviously, these kind of things are pretty simplistic.
Right.
We know how they're going to end. But, I think it works well. Like I said, I don't think it's a good movie. But, if you're there for the fights and to just get your blood boiling, then I think you'll like it.
And I was surprised to see the rated R rating on the movie called The Princess, right?
Yeah. There's so much blood.
Kind of has to be.
Decapitations and people get, I bet you she kills, up to 100 guards in her escape. And it's funny because, she does not back down from, she first 5 or 6 guards she takes on her easily have 200 pounds on her.
Wow.
And it doesn't matter because it's a fantasy.
Right.
So.
Okay, so best one that on the list maybe you should watch.
Look, honestly, it's probably Minions, because it really super serves its audience, which is the kids, but it's not a great week. So. But hey, next week, Thor, Love and Thunder, and the week after that, Where the Crawdads Sing, and the week after that, Nope. They're just lined up one after another. So it's going to be, we're still in a good summer space.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll look forward to that. And of course, we'll see Sean back here next Friday.
Next Friday.
Thanks for all the options of this weekend if folks need a little escape from, all the holiday activities.